sport now in BBC Scotland on Sports Scene Match of the Day.
Good evening. No Grand Slam, no celebrations, so no rugby in the programme tonight. It's football all the way. Gordon Smith and John Cahoon are with us. Both were involved in their different capacities at Celtic Park today. Celtic Hearts is our big match tonight. Brian McLaughlin was back in the hoops for the first time in 4 months and was in the mood to make up for lost time. Sometimes you can only do so much, though. With Rangers at Easter Road tomorrow, Celtic once again had a 24-hour start on the championship race, but today looked sure to be a tough one for them. Hearts are one of the country's form sides and had won their last 4 away matches. Celtic, meanwhile, were looking to stretch their unbeaten run in domestic matches to 25 games. Commentary from Jock Brown.
The big names missing from that Celtic team are Tommy Boyd, who's suspended, and John Collins, who's unfit. Manager Tommy Burns appears determined to retain the shape of the side, so Brian O'Neill wears Boyd's number 2 in central defence, and Brian McLaughlin is the straight replacement for Collins, wide on the left of midfield. The major blow for Hearts is the absence of goalkeeper Gilles Rousset, who failed a fitness test this morning on a hamstring injury. So Craig Nelson comes in after a 20-match absence. Alan Lawrence and John Cahoon continue as a striking partnership with John Robertson on the bench, and Pasquale Bruno replaces Alan McManus after completing his 2-match suspension. Brian McLaughlin clearly enjoys his manager's confidence, replacing John Collins and keeping international players like Phil O'Donnell and Morten Weghorst on the bench. He scored his first goals for Celtic against Hearts at Tynecastle in September. It's another big game for Italian international Pasquale Bruno, who was ordered off against Aberdeen 3 weeks ago after 18 consecutive matches, which coincided with Hearts' upsurge in form after a slow start to the season. The referee this afternoon, a very experienced official, Mr. Bobby Tate from East Kilbride. Every Celtic match at this stage in the season of the utmost importance as they chase Rangers for the championship. This is certainly no exception, as reflected by a near capacity crowd once again. Tremendous atmosphere inside the stadium. Celtic begin their now familiar pattern of play, passing smoothly from the back through midfield. That will be cut off though by Steve Fulton, a former Celtic player. That's for Alan Johnston. Poynton is onside, challenged by Hughes. There's no infringement there. Hearts players looking towards the referee hopefully. Turned away by Alan Lawrence for a Celtic throw. And Celtic's form also reflected by the fact that they last lost a match in domestic competition on the 30th of September. That was against Rangers here. So since then, 24 without defeat, 17 wins, 7 draws. That's why they're in the championship race. Hearts, on the other hand, improving rapidly as the season goes on. Since losing on New Year's Day against Hibs, they've had 8 wins and only 2 defeats. Brian McLaughlin concedes the corner kick. Put under pressure all the way there by Gary Locke, the Hearts captain. So an early opportunity for Hearts to maintain their good recent form. Marshall's in trouble. Headed away by Van Hooijdonk. Well, a moment of alarm there for the Celtic defence. Gordon Marshall's complete misjudgment of that corner kick will of course some concern. Across the middle, Celtic have Donnelly, McStay, Grant and McLaughlin, and Hooijdonk and Tom up front. Good running by Donnelly. That's for McLaughlin. The tackle was by Gary Locke. The free kick's been given. Locke complaining he played the ball. In fairness to him, I think he may have a case here. Well, it did appear to play the ball first. And there's a very good opportunity this for Celtic. Jan van Hooijdonk, the free kick expert. Not quite the right angle of a right-footed player, but that'll trouble him too much. Discussion with his skipper, Paul McStay. The referee makes the wall retreat, and now it's Van Hooijdonk. Straight off the wall to Alan Lawrence. Paul McStay for Celtic! A searing drive from Paul McStay. It's only his second goal of the season, and there was no possible answer to that. Magnificent strike by McStay. Oh, he doesn't score too often, but that really was sensational. I'm sure it's just the kind of start which Jim Jeffries, the Hearts manager, was dreading. With Celtic in such good form, getting off to such a bright start was exactly what Hearts were trying to avoid, I'm sure. It's a good turn by Johnston. Grant, Tom, careless one. McPherson forward now to Fulton. Good sleight of foot there by Steve Fulton. Back at the stadium where he initially made his name as a young Celtic star. Before moving on to Bolton Wanderers and then Falkirk, and recently the Hearts. It's a long way out for a direct shot at goal, this. There's Fulton. Very well struck by Fulton. Gordon Marshall made sure in his body behind that. There was no mistake by the keeper here. But this was very well struck by Steve Fulton. Awkward for the keeper. Here's Bruno. One of three central defenders along with Dave McPherson and Paul Ritchie for Hearts. Gary Locke and Neil Point in the wing backs in these wide positions. Here's Tom. Van Hooijdonk inside, McKinley on the outside. Donnelly and Van Hooijdonk wait inside the area. Van Hooijdonk! 2-0 to Celtic. Another superb move from Celtic. Tosh McKinley looks up, picks out Pierre Van Hooijdonk. That was tailor-made for the big striker. And not from his 22nd goal of the season. A great build-up, ending with a superb out-swinging cross from McKinley. Strength in the air of Van Hooijdonk, too much for Nelson. 2-0 to Celtic, and they really are now in full cry. Van Hooijdonk, the goal-scoring menace again. Here's Cahoon. Impeded there, making for the byline. It's just outside the area. Foul committed by Brian O'Neill. Good opportunity this for Hearts. They will be anxious to get back into the game quickly. Brian O'Neill's foul gives this free kick. Bolton's free kick palmed away there, not too convincingly by Marshall. He's still in some difficulty. Poynton plays that over. He thought there was a deflection off back Kamara. The referee and linesman don't agree. It's a goal kick. Well, Gordon Marshall again will be relieved to see the end of this incident, I'm sure. Did well to block that from Bruno. And Poynton's effort goes over the top. Misunderstanding of McStay and Donnelly. McStay winning it back. Look at the hustling tactics from Celtic. Closing down defenders so rapidly. That's a good tackle again by McNamara. This is Cahoon. Nimble footwork from Donnelly. Van Hooijdonk to McStay. Off goes Donnelly again. Read well by McPherson for Hearts. Well, Hearts going through the mill now, and Tommy Bond's entitled to be very happy indeed with a sizzling start from Celtic. Van Hooijdonk's lay off. Patient build-up play again from Celtic. Overhit by Hughes, turns away in disgust at his own pass. He wasn't at all pleased with that, taking some advice from the dugout there. Poor kick out, giving Celtic the chance to come forward again with Andreas Tom looking there for Van Hooydonk. The far-flung cross. Good striker needs some help here. He's retained possession well, applauded by the Celtic supporters. Celtic begin again. McLaughlin attacking Locke. That's great running by McLaughlin. Another chance on for Celtic. It's confirmed. What an incredible opening. 18 minutes of the first half gone. Celtic lead by 3-0. And Brian McLaughlin's little mazy dribble with this finish. Really, I think Craig Nelson will be very upset about that, so will Neil Poynton, but the cutback looked much more likely here because Simon Burnley was screaming for the ball inside, but that squeeze past Nelson, Poynton couldn't keep it out. Fourth of his Celtic career for Brian McLaughlin. Lawrence did well against McNamara, but the cover is supplied instantly by Hughes. Now Tom. As for Grant, Nelson was in trouble, he did just enough there. Bruno nudges the ball away. Van Hooydonk challenges in the air, his elbow was up, it's a free kick to Hearts. Well, relief there for Craig Nelson, what a return to the first team this is for him. It looked as though Peter Grant might just beat him to that. Cahoon. Good play, Johnston breaks. Excellent close control. That's what he's renowned for. It's picked out Coulton. Pointing well forward again on the left-hand side. Recovered well after the stumble. Great chance there for Hearts. Pasquale Bruno right inside the 6-yard box. Wasn't picked up by Celtic. Oh, what an excellent chance this was. Fine play by Poynton. This angle cross with the right foot. Look at this space two Hearts players had. Bruno in particular. A reminder there to Celtic. Good places they can easily set in this situation. The bench was badly caught out there. McNamara outnumbered. Simon Burnley frustrated there. To Cahoon. That's for Johnston, he's offside. Oh, superb finish once again. The man has scored a hat-trick against Rangers at Ibrox. Another excellent finish, although certainly the pressure was off because George Kerr, the linesman there, had the flag up when the pass was delivered. Jeff is anxious to get these players into the dressing room at half-time, I'm sure. There'll be a few words to be said, sternly, I'm sure. McPherson. Poynton. Beautifully driven cross that. Won by O'Neill. Locked towards Johnston. Another misunderstanding there. Celtic have the goal kick. The referee Bobby Tate has checked his watch as Gordon Marshall takes the goal kick. That'll tell him, I think, there's a bit of stoppage time to add. We're in that now as McLaughlin breaks. That's for Peter Grant. Cross goes Ritchie. Back it comes to Tom. Good play by Grant. McLaughlin to McStay. Celtic quite content to play the ball back to retain possession. Wait for the moment. McNamara under pressure from Lawrence. O'Neill to McLaughlin. That's McKinley. McLaughlin again, and referee Bobby Tate ends the Hearts' misery by blowing the half-time whistle. A searing start to the match from Celtic, started by Paul McStay, an incredible 25-yarder after just 7 minutes. And then 5 minutes later, a superb header by Pierre Van Hooijdonk. Brian McLaughlin got the third in 18 minutes, and Hearts looked to be buried. It's been a great first half for Celtic. Celtic 3, Hearts 0. So a major change made by Hearts in the second half. John Robertson has come on in attack, starting the match up front with John Cahoon. And the player who's gone off is Pasquale Bruno. So Hearts have a very tough task to face in the second half. But for Celtic too, they have the problem of trying to pick up their momentum again after that interval. They were playing so well in the opening spell of the match, and now they have to try to sharpen themselves again in circumstances where they really are entitled to feel the match is won. So it will be a tribute to the management skills of Tommy Barnes to see how Celtic start the second period. Good tackle there by McKinley. O'Neill picks it up. Credit due to Jim Jeffries for being very adventurous with his team selection for the second half. This is Donnelly looking for Van Hooijdonk. He's spinning, and Nelson going across to get a touch, turning it away for the corner. Menacing figure, Van Hooijdonk, going in and goalkeepers like that. Played forward to him by Donnelly. There was Van Hooijdonk, and Nelson came to turn that to safety. Pierre Van Hooijdonk. McNamara on the flank. No chance of getting that past two defenders. Has to settle for a throw. Plenty of movement being offered by the Celtic players for the throw. That's good play by McNamara. McLaughlin's header, the smallest player in the field. Tom turns it back. Mackay gets there of Grant. This is Cahoon. Block to Mackay. Lawrence is onside. A great chance here for Hearts. Liked a bit of conviction there, Lawrence. Had the pace surely to carry on in goal. Chose to shoot from the edge of the area. It was Brian McLaughlin who was the nearest player to him in the end. Backtracking quickly there as Lawrence set himself for the shot. Well, what Hearts have actually done in the second half is they've changed the system. They're going to match up against Celtic. Stumble there by Tom was unfortunate for Celtic. Break for Hearts though. They're going to a flat back four. Hearts with Locke, McPherson, Ritchie and Poynton. Playing Johnston wide on the right and Lawrence coming in from the left with two in the middle. Mackay and Fulton and Cahoon and Robertson up front. So effectively moving to a 4-4-2 formation. Moving to a 4-3-3. Clearance there was by Grant. It goes straight to Fulton. Guy closed down by O'Neill. Now the counter-attack on, led by Paul McStay for Celtic. Retaining possession brilliantly, going past the offside trap. And Hooijdonk checked back onside. Invited McStay to keep on running. Faulted by McPherson though. Johnson showing too much of that to Grant. And Hooijdonk. Grant. Sharp interpassing by Celtic. An error by Grant. It's Mackay. Looking for Robertson. Last point play by Robertson. An excellent defending by McNamara. Back with Alan Lawrence. Deflection there. Gordon Marshall goes to settle any arguments about corner kicks. Well, some very good attacking play again coming from Hearts. And some excellent defending also by Celtic. When the ball was fed through here by Gary Mackay, it was picked up by John Robertson. But just look at the quality of this challenge by Jackie McNamara. Mackay and Robertson combining well again. There's Alan Johnston. And Hooijdonk screening the ball from McPherson. Does that so well. Here's Peter Grant. And Hooijdonk striding clear. Tom in the middle waiting for this. Donnelly getting there too. Back it comes to Van Hooijdonk. A good save. McLaughlin. Another splendid Celtic attack. Well, the contribution made by Peter Grant was so important to release that pass for Van Hooijdonk. He tried to pick out Andreas Thom. It was well intercepted, but it gave Van Hooijdonk a shooting chance. Well, Hearts manager Jim Jeffries made a very bold decision to change the system the way he has, bearing in mind the good spell of form his team has enjoyed in recent weeks, and also bearing in mind a very important cup quarter-final coming up on Thursday night against St Johnstone. Formation changed at this stage. He has to make a big decision again for that match, but he's principally concerned to compete and survive here. McLaughlin wants the ball all the time now. Van Hooijdonk with a return. That's McLaughlin again. Andreas Thom turned it over. That was brilliant play from Celtic again. And Brian McLaughlin almost scoring a classic. Well, the exchange of passes with Pierre Van Hooijdonk. Oh, didn't have a shooting chance there, but he deceived them all by checking inside. Nelson was beaten there, and Andreas Thom will believe he should have scored from there. The midfield battle continues. Grant winning that particular joust. Did well, the chance for Cahoon. And Gordon Marshall goes again to make the tackle. But once again, Celtic were exposed through the middle. Throw goes to Hearts. Well, good goalkeeping by Gordon Marshall. But look at the space John Cahoon had going through the middle here on Robertson's pass. It was a golden opportunity, and Marshall did well. Van Hooijdonk, O'Neill wants it back. He's in the clear here, away from Locke. Playing it early for Weghorst. The chance here for Celtic. Well, great play by Brian O'Neill for Celtic. Kind of modern centre-back play, what Celtic are looking for. Breaking so effectively in the back to set up the chance here for Morten Weghorst. Strauss and Marshall. McKinley got that right. Johnston providing the problem. Here's Tosh McKinley. Darley's onside. Looking for Van Hooijdonk. Well played by Nelson. That was good goalkeeping. Not much margin for error here as Donnelly looks up to spot the positioning of Van Hooijdonk. A big striker closing in on that rapidly, but Nelson did well. Weghorst. McNamara. Was great play by McNamara. The clearance came from McPherson. He's growing in stature every week, Jackie McNamara. That's a demonstration of his immense confidence at this stage, going past defenders so well. And the pull-back cut off well by McPherson. Cahoon now to Johnston. Good running by Gary Locke. The advantage rule might have been applied there, but referee Tate saw that foul as serious enough to halt the play. It was Johnson. You see Locke going outside. It was a very well judged pass. Certainly a foul by McKinley. Wilton's free kick. Attacked at the far post by John Miller, one of the best headers of the ball in the country from that position. That's easily taken by Marshall. Attempted a dipping volley from Cahoon. Breaking there kindly for Cahoon on the bounce, and Marshall back far enough to take the catch. There's Tosh McKinley and McLaughlin. Good running again by O'Donnell, but he mistimed it. Well, it's normally his great strength that, the way O'Donnell breaks from midfield to support the front. The timing was wrong on the run again. Here goes Robertson. So very well by Miller. The first touch let him down. The guy has Locke on the outside. In the middle is Robertson. Couldn't have been closer, and once again, totally isolated there. Picked up by no one, and that will alarm Tommy Burns. Mackay spotted him in position there, picked him out brilliantly with this cross. But look at the space Robertson has for that header. Hughes. There's McPherson under pressure from Donnelly. Because getting back to help McNamara. Misunderstanding there. O'Donnell sorts it out for Celtic. Clumsy challenge by O'Neill. Clear foul on Cahoon. Well, Celtic will have to sort out this understanding at the back, because there have been 2 or 3 occasions when players have found space in the centre of the penalty box. No one near them. Good play by McKinley. Here's McLaughlin. Donnelly wants the ball in the middle. It's a great pass. Oh, it's brilliant play from Celtic. McLaughlin and Donnelly. Well, Tosh McKinley did the good work early on to release Brian McLaughlin. That first-time pass was brilliant. Look at the way Donnelly takes this, checks inside Paul Ritchie and drilled the ball beyond Nelson for his 8th goal of the season. So 4-0 to Celtic, matching the record for the season. And they have still 4 minutes remaining in which to break the record. Fulton. Oh, it's great play by Steve Fulton. Well, that would have been a beauty. Former Celtic player, back at Parkhead. Look at his contribution here, goes for the turn. Look at the spin here, turning away. And very good goalkeeping again by Gordon Marshall. Marshall's committed himself for this. Well, he's had a very good match after missing a cross right at the start of the match. He's played very well indeed, and referee Bobby Tate brings an excellent Celtic performance to an end. And the game was effectively won and lost in the opening 18 minutes, with goals from McStay, from Van Hooijdonk and McLaughlin, enjoyed by these Celtic supporters. Inevitable perhaps the second half was something of an anticlimax, until Simon Donnelly scored that beauty 4 minutes from the end. It's Celtic 4, Hearts 0.
I think first half we played very well. Second half I felt we stuttered a wee bit. But in saying that, the last 10 minutes we picked up a wee bit, and we've sent our supporters home happy with that final goal.
You had, of course, Paul McStay producing that outstanding opener. That's 2 inside a month for him. Is that something of a record for him?
That's right. We've continually told him that he's got a good strike on the ball, and we've told him that if he's in the right area, not to think about taking it and maybe making a wee pass, just to take it and have a strike at the goal. And thankfully the last 2 have went in for him.
You chose Brian McLaughlin to replace John Collins rather than shuffle the pack to bring in Phil O'Donnell or Morton Vickers. Does that say something about your belief in that young man?
Very much so. I think McLaughlin is a player of rare talent. He's got fantastic movement about him in the game and understands the game very well, I feel. And he adds a real good shape to our team when he plays in that role.
The warning signs were there in the first half at Kilmarnock last week, and we didn't get away with it today. So, you know, we'll get back into harness tomorrow and get prepared for the cup tie.
No jolting then in your faith about the side with the cup in mind next week?
No, it might turn out to be the best thing that happened. I mean, we lost to Aberdeen, played better than we did today, but we lost to Aberdeen, and then it spurred us up for the Kilmarnock Cup tie, and hopefully this will do the same. But you know, just the ironic thing is we could have scored 3 or 4. That's the best chances we've had for weeks, and we could have scored 3 or 4 goals.
2 4-0s in a row, good goal-scoring performances. The latest in Georgi Cadetti. What's the latest?
The latest is that I sent the boy home this morning. I spoke to him at length last night and told him that, you know, obviously in order for him to come here and be a player for Celtic, we're going to have to negotiate a transfer fee. And if that was the case, there wouldn't have been any problem in the first place, Jock, but we were led to believe that the boy was free. If that is the case, then we're quite happy to sit down and negotiate with Sporting to bring him here. That's something we're going to, you know, strive to do this week. But equally, I wanted him to go home and talk to his wife, because it's a difference between coming somewhere for 2 or 3 months as opposed to what we're asking him to come for maybe 2 or 3 years. So that's a decision he's got to make. But in saying that, we'll be doing our utmost to get him here next week.
Well, Celtic can do no more than keep winning and keep the pressure on Rangers, and they certainly did that in convincing fashion today. John, obviously a bad day for you, and it all went wrong right at the start, really, didn't it? 3 goals in 17 minutes.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to do when you go to Celtic Park or Ibrox is lose a goal early. We lost 3, and then after that they've got their tails up and they're buzzing, and we're a little bit deflated, and it was a very hard afternoon for us.
Yeah. Gordon, how did you see the game? Did you feel that the game was killed off early, effectively?
It was. It had started actually pretty well in the match. The first few minutes they were, you know, they created a couple of good openings. But once Celtic got the first goal, then they were always struggling. And I think that Celtic played really good stuff in the first half. They carved hearts open, and they got the goals, which was very important. And I think after 20 minutes, like the last 2 games we've seen Celtic at Parkhead, you know, Tommy Burns was able to light up his cigar and put his feet up for the day, because it was all over at that stage.
Let's take a look at the goals and begin. The first one, John, that marvellous strike by Paul McStay after 7 minutes. Maybe not a free kick at all.
No, maybe not, but Van Hooydonk hits it reasonably well. The wall does its job, and then it comes out to Paul McStay. He hit that. There's a lot of movement in there, and the goalkeeper had absolutely no chance.
I think Tommy Burns has got to be asking why Paul McStay just doesn't do that more often. He's got a great strike on him, and yet that is his 2nd goal of the season. He really has to give a few more, add goals to the team. But here's the 2nd goal, little Brian McLaughlin on the ball. He had an excellent match today, and what's happened here is Hearts got totally out of position there. There's 4 players here across the middle, all looking at Brian McLaughlin, eye off the ball, and all of a sudden, as you can see, Celtic players have got beyond them there, and there's no covering. As it's played through to Andreas Tom, Dave McPherson's left against about 3 there. All they can do is force that wide, and what has to happen now is a good cross delivered, and that's exactly what Tosh McKinley provides. Great header down by Van Hooydonk. He made a terrific run to the back post, came to the near post, and really he's looking for the service there. And look at this cross. McKinley has an excellent game again today, puts in great crosses, and that's a smashing header down low at the keeper's right-hand post.
How impressed were you with Brian McLaughlin today, John?
Yeah, he gave our defence a hard time. This is real Celtic winger tradition. Going at people, and a little trick got it through Gary's legs, and sometimes people say he doesn't finish enough, but Neil Pointon couldn't do enough to keep that out. I think he's scored a few goals this season, most of them against us.
Yeah, he seems to enjoy playing against us, doesn't he? And he gets a lot of deflection here, but he was always looking for the goal, wasn't he?
Yeah, he played very well today, Brian.
What about the 4th goal? This, in some ways, maybe the best of the lot, actually, Gordon.
It was. Van Hooydonk tried a flick, didn't come off, and McKinley was onto it very sharply there. This is a great ball now. Little McLaughlin looks up, has to deliver a long crossfield ball, but he does it, and you know, shades of Ken Dalglish there, really, you know, from Donnelly there. A terrific control on his right foot, onto his left side. But you know, there's 2 young players who know they've had a great match together, and they've enjoyed themselves. Look at that ball. He's found him at the back post there, and shapes to hit it with his right foot. Knows exactly what he wants to do here, and then drives it in tremendously with his left foot. Great finish.
Staying in Brian McLaughlin, John, as you said, he's the kind of player defenders hate to play against, and obviously having been out of the side for so long, he had a real appetite for the match today, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he was delighted to be back in with John Collins being out, and he was twisting and turning and making the defenders back off, and he did very well in this instance. He goes at the defender and gives him a hard time, plays a lovely 1-2 with Van Hooydonk, and then comes in on his bad foot and has a good strike, and thankfully Andreas Tom made my miss look reasonable.
I mean, it was a bad day, an unexpectedly bad day, because you must have gone there today expecting to do something, I would think.
Yeah, we went there expecting to get some kind of result. People wrote us off when we went to Ibrox, and we came away with a result that nobody thought, and we thought we could do that today. But last week, as the manager said, against Kilmarnock, we got the result without actually playing very well. But the difference is when you go to Celtic Park, you've got to play well and hope to catch them. And we didn't do that today. We didn't keep the ball enough, and when you lose early goals, you really are up against it.
Sure. But having said that, you had your chances. I mean, the final result might have been 5 or 6-3 or something like that in effect,
yeah,
because
we had chances, but sadly we never took any of them. Pasquale comes in at the back post behind me here, and I don't know why he didn't header it, but he lost it in the sun, I think, perhaps. And but we had chances all afternoon. We had 3 or 4, and We should have taken at least one of them.
Yeah, I think that the chances came because Celtic basically went to sleep in some parts of the team, and I think that they were getting forward so much that they lost concentration. I mean, here's a ball here, look at that, played right through the middle there, and here's Brian O'Neill here, John Hughes is there, McKinley's out on the left-hand side, and that's little Brian McLaughlin is back in there. The shape has gone totally there as that ball's played through, and that's exactly what happened to Celtic quite a few times in the second half. They lost their shape, and I think it was a concentration. And Tommy Burns, I think, will want to speak to his players about that this week, because we see there the ball's played on. Alan Lawrence couldn't quite get it under control, but he was played in, and I think that, you know, Tommy, there's Brian McLaughlin's actually gets back to challenge, but Tommy Burns will want to ask the question as why his defence really were allowing Hearts to get those sort of chances.
Mind you, when you're 3-0 up, I suppose it's understandable, not excusable, but understandable.
It is, and once again here, another ball to give it a long kick out from the goalkeeper. John Robertson wins it. Now, you know, Brian O'Neill really should be giving him the cover. He should be in here instead of being here. But look at that, he's not covering round. It's a straightforward ball right through the middle of the defence. Who's onto it but John Colquhoun?
Yeah, a little bit, well, very disappointed they didn't score here. Tried to take it early and hit it round about the goalkeeper's legs, and he brings off a fantastic save.
I thought you might say that, John. Yeah. But it was really that Celtic, you know, having played so well in the game, and you don't want to look at the negative side of it, but this is something that you know, will worry the manager, because here's Gary Mackay once again knocking a ball into the box. John Robertson goes in there, and 9 times out of 10 Robbo would score with a ball like that, but
sure,
you know, he's knocked it past the post. Here's Fulton, who had a good game, I thought, for Hearts in the midfield today. Develops a chance and a good save by Gordon Marshall. So there were opportunities for Hearts to score, believe it or not, in a game when they got well beaten 4-0. I still think Celtic would have stepped it up if Hearts had got any of those goals back. But there was a little bit of a worry there, and it's a Celtic defence which is quite new, because O'Neill and Hughes aren't used to playing together. Tommy Boyd, who's played great this season, was missing, so that's one aspect of Celtic. Going forward, brilliant, but they'll have to really...
Yeah, the understanding maybe isn't quite there yet, obviously.
Probably not, but as I say, I think it was mainly down to the fact they were so well on top. When you're up 3-0, you do get a little bit slack at times.
Yeah. So you were looking to create these kind of opportunities, obviously, John, in the cup match, which is the next big priority for you. And it's going to be tough, isn't it, St Johnstone?
Yeah, they're going very, very well. They've had another good result today. But we've got to look to go up there and win. Our season is now coming at a very crucial time. We play St Johnstone on Thursday, then we've got the derby coming up a week on Saturday. So we don't want to let all the good work that we've done up to now fizzle out. It's a very important game for the club financially, and also for the supporters to get through to the semi-final.
And a last word, Gordon, on the continuing saga of Jorge Cadete. I mean, is he eventually going to come to Parkhead, but maybe cost them an awful lot more than they'd intended spending?
Well, I think that they've seen the player now in a week's training. I think they just have to go out and spend the money. If he is considered the player that's going to help them win the championship, they've got to just bite the bullet now and go to Sporting Lisbon and say, how much do you want? And if it's reasonable money, I mean, he's only got 4 months of his contract to go. Surely he's not going to cost them that much, but I think they should go and make that signing, because the Celtic fans do want him to come in, and I think they do need cover for up front now that Andy Walker's been sold. OK, he scored today as well, incidentally. Well, Celtic now join Rangers on the 65-point mark, with the champions looking to move ahead again at Easter Road tomorrow. Scott Booth scored twice in Aberdeen's 3-0 win over Kilmarnock, his first goal since scoring for Scotland against San Marino last November. At the bottom of the table, there were important wins for Raith Rovers and Motherwell. The Kirkcaldy side won 3-0 at Partick Thistle, their biggest ever Premier win away from home, while Willie Faulkner was the scorer in Motherwell's 1-0 win over Falkirk. That's their 4th win in the last 5 games.